is art important? I guess because, the essence of art is creativity. And creativity is what spurs everything we do in this world. And so to be someone who gets to foster that throughout a community is so rewarding.
Well, I think art is a way to bring people together. Art is sort of a general term, but really it can come in so many different formats.
Oh, I think it feeds our soul. I think we have to have art in order to be human. We have to have a mode of expression. I think art makes our life more interesting and worth living. How boring would this world be without art? Of any form, not just visual art, but music and performing art. I can't imagine literary arts. How could we not have that in our lives? I just can't imagine it.
About 2 years ago, I opened up my own gallery here at the Square, and as time went on, I realized that a lot of what I had done in the past in management would actually benefit the park. And so slowly but surely over the last 2 years, I've taken on managing the park, and now I'm running Railroad Square. But it's so different, now that I'm running an art park. I kind of consider the art park my art project now. I don't get much time to actually paint anymore. And it is pretty much the most awesome job in the world. There is no typical day here at Railroad Square. Anything can happen. But first and foremost, I make sure that the tenants are, have their needs met in terms of what they need as far as their galleries or their studios, and that our eclectic retail shops are doing well. And I do a lot of planning for the future for the Square. You have an opportunity to really educate the public in terms of culture and arts. I'm definitely following my dream at this point. I didn't know it was my dream, but as things have, but I pretty much just trust the universe was going to hand me whatever I should be doing at this point. And so yeah, I'm following my dream now, or it's following me.
I am a water media painter. I concentrate in watercolor, but that doesn't mean that's all I use. I also use acrylic, gouache, anything that's water-based. I've been painting full-time for about 2 years. I painted part-time before that in conjunction with my career as an interior designer. I have always been interested in art, but I never thought I could make it until I got a little older and had gone through a career in the technology industry and having kids and all that. So put the car on the ship and we went to Hawaii for a whole year, and that's when I really started painting. Really started concentrating on it because you can only go to the beach for so long. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna paint. And so that's what I did. And so if you look at my work, there's a big tropical influence. I'm always looking for something that attracts me. It may be at the beach, it may be, surprisingly enough, somewhere around town, like the magnolia tree in front of the office at Railroad Square, which is what I'm working on over here right now. Well, I always liked the fluidity of it and the look of it, but until I started painting with it, I didn't realize how hard it was. It's extremely challenging because it has a mind of its own, and I sort of like that. You let the paint do its thing, and a lot of times you come up with something even better than what you would have thought of. I've never had any real formal training except for my drawing skills that I acquired when I was in the interior design program at FSU, since we had to draw everything for our projects. So that actually really helped me develop an eye and develop my drawing. I feel like I'm more observant. And I don't always look at something like, hey, I'm gonna go take a picture or I'm going to paint a picture of that, but I'm just more aware of details and of things going on around me.
The Mickey Faust Club, or the Mickey Faust Academy for the really dramatic arts, is 27 years old. It's a mixed ability community theater for the weird and queer community. In it we have a core of maybe 30 people who volunteer, and a lot of them are professionals in many ways. They're professional writers or people who work in radio, film, theater, and they work with people in the community to teach them how to have their own voice, primarily through all of those mediums, theater, radio, video, film. We call ourselves a mixed ability company because we have a lot of people with disabilities, and also we have a lot of people who don't know hell about performing. You know? And sometimes they never learn. So it's truly a mixed ability company. We're being acknowledged. We're one of only 5 theaters in the world that has a disability, that includes disability in its performances. I dress up like I am the rat. Mickey Faust is a huge cigar, beer-guzzling, foul-mouthed rat, okay, who looks suspiciously in dress, you know, with the polka dot tie and the little thing, suspiciously like another unctuous rodent in Orlando. And this Mickey, whose name is spelled M-I-C-K-E-E, was left to fend for himself in the gutters of Tallahassee. He's vowed undying revenge. We have essentially 2 spaces when we first started Faust. It was this space. It's essentially a black box. As you see, it has these big wooden doors. We have a beautiful backyard. It's great. We have a stage out there, so after our shows, we have little music concerts and people drink beer, and they can before our shows, they can have a picnic lunchroom. If you go through this, we have a bathroom called the Hinkle Tinkle, and it's called the Hinkle Tinkle because Janet Hinkle, who is a philanthropist, a local philanthropist who's moved to the Key West, is a woman who gave us the money to do it. Because for a long time, we didn't have a bathroom that was completely accessible. We couldn't afford it. You go through it, and you will see there's a little makeup room and a green room, a backstage area, another bathroom, and then this huge kind of cavernous-looking warehouse barn. And we have a bandstand area and a storage area. It's painted in every color of the rainbow. And we get grants because from the very early on, we wanted to be accessible. In part because I grew up deaf. And I used to be deferential about that, you know, not wanting to impose myself or my own needs. But then as I became more and more involved in disability rights, I thought, what the hell? And also because it's easier to advocate for other people than it is for yourself sometimes. So we have a big disability component. We have a big queer component. We also have, we've been working on the minority component. I like it when you're poor and you still try to do everything you can, even if it makes you poorer, to be welcoming. And I got to tell you, I just think I love that the most about Faust. It tries really, really hard to be gracious. You know, so I have a lot of dreams. So Faust is one. You know, Faust is one. Guys, this is great. Okay, this is great, and I will try and mark out how it's for the first damn rehearsal. It's wonderful.
The Sharing Tree is a reusable resource center, and people always say, well, what does that mean? And I say, well, it's like a Goodwill, but it's for art and school supplies. So everything you see here, we have a 4,000 square foot building here at Railroad Square. Everything you see top to bottom is donated to us. But you walk into our building, the front 2 rooms everything's prices marked, and there's about 1,000 square feet up here. It's kind of our nicer, newer donations, and then you walk in the back, and it's very warehouse style. The Sharing Tree started in 2 different areas, and one was me. I started a reusable resource center, and I originally called it Salvage Art. And we were located in a smaller building. It was about 600 square feet back here in Railroad Square. I started it because when I was a little girl, I'm from Minneapolis, and there was a reusable resource center there. And I remember it just made such an impression on my life. I didn't know it at the time, but Leon County Schools and Leon County local government was interested in doing something, the same concept, but more geared towards our local educators. They basically give our program a stipend, and we provide free school classroom materials to all of their educators. Since we opened in 2010, we have given away over $320,000 in classroom materials. So that's a huge asset to our community. You know, one day maybe we're getting ready for a workshop. Maybe another day we're getting a huge donation. I think that's what's so exciting about my job, is that it's ever changing. We have things that nobody else is going to have. I mean, we have a bin back there full of corks. We have a bin back there full of, you know, bottle caps or scrap fabric. Nobody else is going to have that kind of stuff. So. And here I have a job that I get to create every single day, and I'm so lucky because not everybody gets to do what they love every single day.
Well, 621 Gallery will be 33 years old this May. It's the oldest and largest contemporary art space in the region, and it focuses on contemporary art. And we show works from local, regional, and nationally recognized artists. We also have a 621 store, and we opened recently the 621 Annex, which is an events and program space. When it started, it was just Nan Boynton had inherited the park, the Railroad Square Park, from her father, and it became what it is today, where there are artist studios and small galleries and small businesses. But it wasn't like that at the beginning. It was big warehouse spaces that were very raw. And so the gallery was in the same space, but it was really raw, no walls. So everything that you see today has been built over the years by volunteers, really, staff and volunteers of the gallery. And we can show a really wide variety of work and expose thousands of people a month to it. And I think people are afraid of it because they're not exposed to it very much in a friendly environment. And I think that's one of the things that 621 Gallery does. I work way more hours than I'm paid for, but I love the place and I think it's really worth it to keep the place running and to keep it kind of in as tip-top shape as we can have it be in. Here now, for instance, there's a local photographer, Jim Miller, has an exhibition of his bird photographs. He's sort of very well known locally as a bird photographer. So those are very big format color photographs. We have an artist from Arkansas. Her name was Sarah LaFleur, and she's got large contemporary abstract pieces that are two-dimensional or 2- and 3-dimensional that are wall hanging. And we also have an artist from New York City, Steve Salzman, who's a painter. And the project that we have of Steve's is some abstract pieces that he's created with colored straws.
I repair everything from roof, doors, windows, plumbing, electrical, and if I can't do it, I have contractors that we hire to have it done. Well, this morning I started out on a roof. I said I've been under decks, I've been in attics, dig holes through the concrete to fix water pipes. It's in and out. It just varies on what needs to be done. Yeah, I call it a science project. I love science projects much. If I could look at it and study it, I could do it. I started working for Nan, who bought it from her father. I was working for the grandfather of who I work for now. And he passed away, and they asked me if I wanted to work here, and so that's where I came from. I mean, when they told me, they said, well, go there, see if you like it. And I thought, okay, I'll check it out. And I like it, you know, I mean, it's got days like this where it's cold, there's days when it's hot, it's wet, but you know, I could dress for it, and I do, you know, like I said, I enjoy a science project, and I enjoy what I do, you know, because I could see the before and the after of what I do.
Well, Arcade Age is a restoration workshop for arcade and pinball games. One component of it is that it's a membership for people who want to learn how to restore, rebuild, repair their own games, and so we have members here that have access to the shop. Another aspect of that is that we have public days that we're open where everything's on free play, first Fridays and third Saturdays of the month. And that's really just to let people experience arcades and pins, because there's just not many places to do that anymore. Well, when you get a game and you're trying to figure out what's wrong with it, really you just have to inspect it. It's not as difficult as most people think, as long as you apply yourself to it. It's just like anything else. A lot of people stop themselves from pursuing something because they don't know anything about it. I would argue that the things you don't know about are the things worth pursuing, because that gives you the most motivation to learn about them. And I think that's the same way for pinball, for arcade games. If you like them, if you want to own one, don't let the fact that you don't know how to fix them right now deter you from doing that. Get one, and when the problem arises, research it and learn how to fix it, and you'll gain a whole new, set of tools that you can use throughout life. The one I probably had the longest that I've kept would be Funhouse. It's known for having an antagonist, which is kind of rare for a pinball game. It's got a talking head called Rudy, which is a puppet that taunts you during the game. His eyes follow the ball around the field as you're playing, and he'll do call-outs at you if you're doing a bad job. And it's one of the few games I can think of that offer that kind of adversarial difference. Normally it's just you and the score, or you in certain modes within the game that you'd like to accomplish or try to knock off. But that's one that I like just because of you get something to battle against. The good games are the ones that give you something that's just out of reach, that you can never quite grab, and it always has you going for more.
It was funny, I looked at Craigslist and there were 4 listings here that had just opened up that day. The first time I looked at Craigslist, there were 4 studios open. And so I came right over, and this is the one, and this was the best one.
I was looking for a space to be able to move the collection I had currently, and instead of just getting more storage units or bigger storage units, I wanted something that I could actually work on the games in. Someplace that was lit, someplace that had power, someplace that I could fix them up. And I called up the property manager at the time and asked if they had any availability, and if so, would they mind this idea coming in, and they were 100% about it. They loved the idea.
There was no doubt about really moving anywhere else, because this community, this artist community, exemplifies what we do. I mean, there's no, it exudes our mission, right? Like, we can put corks on the walls. We can put bottle caps on the ceilings. We can hang scrap fabric from, the rafters if we want to, and they're okay with that. No, they embrace that.
I mean, if you look back at where we started, when it was, the ex-lumber yard, with a bunch of warehouse buildings, to what it is today, it's a huge difference. In 33 years or 35 years, it's come an incredibly long way. And we've gotten sophisticated, but we're not, we're still local.
Our buildings are not the nicest buildings in town. A lot of our spaces are not even climate controlled. And so they're not always the most comfortable place to be or to do your work. But we do try to keep our rents at a level where people who want to have an artist studio, can afford. And if there weren't places like that available, then artists wouldn't be able to do their art if it's not their primary source of income.
The First Friday was an event conceived by the city decades ago, and eventually the city stopped funding it, but the people didn't stop coming.
We start around 6 o'clock, and we close off the streets so that it's mostly pedestrian traffic within the square.
We kind of took it to the next level, and plus there's so many people here that probably 60% of our people open on First Fridays. That's, you know, a big deal. And we get, you know, thousands of people come through.
You know, I'm an artist. I came from San Francisco. It's a very different community. It's a very different culture. So I was looking for that art hub, you know, and I had no idea. Somebody said, let's come out to First Friday. And as soon as I got here, I just felt like I felt in my arena. I felt at home.
But First Friday is sort of a happening. People are here with food. People are here with crafts and art and tarot readings, palm readings. And then most everybody tries to open their studio up and have, you know, a little libation here and there, some food possibly, like little snacks, and just be open.
And I think it's wonderful because it gets people out and together. And what's better than that? I think that's going to be marvelous.
One of the great benefits of having a place like this is that we get such a wide range of people that come in. We get everything from the little kids who've never seen any of this before, and their parents are, you know, lifting them up onto the stool so they can reach the buttons, and are trying to explain to them this button does this, and these are flippers. But there's something to offer to people who haven't experienced it ever, who may be younger. They enjoy it just as much as everybody else. It's something that's very unifying across all different demographics and ages and everything else.
But I'm still amazed when I come here every First Friday and I walk around and I see how many people there are, how many different kinds of people there are. When I see a whole community of people coming together.
We are the art hub here in Tallahassee, the art district, and as soon as you drive in here, you feel that. From the moment you turn onto Industrial Drive, you sense that. The buildings are painted crazy colors. There's murals everywhere, and everybody's an artist, whether it be the cook across the street or the gallery director right next door. Everybody is doing something fun and funky, and we all want the same thing. We all want people to come out and enjoy First Fridays and our events and our places and our concepts.
And they all kind of have that signifying goal, which is kind of undefinable, but it's, you know, hey, we want to do good here and we want to do good for here. So it's nice to be somewhere like that. It's not a strip mall, it's not a shopping center. That's not the glue that holds you together. It's something bigger here.
We all know that this is a very special place. Larger cities frequently have places like this, but a city this size to have a place like this is a very unusual thing and very unique. And I think we're kind of blessed in Tallahassee to have a place like this, and to have the support of the Boynton Kay family, who continues to run Railroad Square like Nan Boynton did, you know, and to keep her dream alive, because it was really Nan's dream that made this place happen. And so that dream is still ongoing, even though Nan is no longer with us.
It's a place to do and display your art. It gives you some privacy from venality. So you don't have to do art that you expect to, that people expect will pay or be worth or this kind of thing. You can do your art. You can display your art. You can, you have, again, the quiet, and then you have the community, for particularly when First Friday and some of these things that they're doing, you know, that bring people in.
You know, everybody just wants to be able to do their thing and you know, don't want to cause a scene, and just wants to be able to do what they want to do and express their creativity and freedom.
What Railroad Square offers to Tallahassee is a place to learn about the arts, learn about culture, experience maybe a side of the art world that's not so boring, that's a lot more exciting, and it definitely reaches out to probably more people than a traditional museum would.
Railroad Square is a really inspirational place for a lot of people, and a lot of people have a great belief in what it can continue to become. Never did I think that I was going to be involved in creating a whole art district for a city. So you have to start small, but I feel like we're already becoming pretty big.